teach skill that can translate to team play, right? Because they all want to run the 1-3-1 power play with the bumper with 12-year-olds and spend half an hour practice on that. And what I've gone to, because I do a lot of like where I'm the skills coach for a team, so I don't teach their systems. I'm just teaching the concepts of hockey, and I'm finding that's been really, really successful at every age group and level, from U11 kind of mid-level rep players all the way to our top level players. So if as a coach you picked a theme for practice, like winning the walls, and you just taught players how to win the walls, and like whatever that means to you, in the offensive zone, in the defensive zone. If the defensive zone, it's the breakout. Maybe you're talking to the wingers. Maybe you're talking about the D's about retrievals. It's offensive zone, like you're saying, Wally. They can't make those tight turns, right? So a practice themed winning the walls has to have tight turns in it, has to have effective outside edges, has to have scanning and awareness of is there support? Where's the support? Where are the bad guys? Where are the good guys? So, things like getting the pucks back. How do you get a puck back? We don't have it. How do we get it back? Right? Like that's a different way of thinking of practice planning, as opposed to let's do 10 minutes on skating, 10 minutes on breakouts, 10 minutes on, attack zone, 10 minutes on power play, which, I used to run a lot of practices like that too. So I'm guilty as charged. But I find, especially with the girls, if you play that same string throughout, I've been teaching a lot of net drives recently because it's playoff time and all the goals are going to be ugly. And so, my last couple of weeks, I've just been working on how do I teach net drives from 9-year-olds all the way up to the 17 and 18-year-olds, and how do those drills need to change? What kind of decisions they have to make while they're driving the net. And then because we spend an hour, 90 minutes teaching a single thing, every coach almost is like, hey, in our next game, I saw 4 good net drives, as opposed to like we barely touched 6 different themes. And so they got incrementally better, but not in anything you could particularly see. So I think it's a different way. Like if you taught players how to break pressure, it's like, hey, how do you break pressure? Like it's just like what we're talking about with Alan, like how do you have a player think about that? How am I going to break pressure? Like my 7-year-old daughter would have an answer on how she might break away from pressure. What's she going to use? What kind of skills? What's she going to think about? So like I said, it's a different way of thinking of it. But if you want to try to get your players, especially at this time of year or like the second half of the season, can you get them thinking in a different way about how the game is played? Because it's all about breaking pressure, creating 2-on-1s, winning the walls, driving the net. Like those are the concepts they need to understand versus your 1-3-1 bumper of a power play. And I think that's the middle between skills and systems that coaches who aren't maybe as experienced as we are, that's the missing piece. They have to be able to teach the concepts of hockey and not as much focus on the system piece of it. So that's me on my my perch again preaching, but I think that's the difference, especially with the girls learning those in that way, plucking